Today's video is going to be another upgrade on my Jeep Wrangler JL. I say upgrade, but I guess it's kind of a matter of opinion because there's a lot of opinions on this. But I'm going to be taking the spare tire off of here and adding a tire delete. First, the reason I'm doing that is this is a 32-inch tire. I have switched to these tires, which are 35s. These are the BF Goodrich KM3 tires, mud terrain, and I gave them a try out a couple videos ago. You may have seen that video, and I really liked them. They used to be on Kevin's Jeep, and that is why they are mud terrain. I may go with all-terrain tires in the future, but I did really like the way these felt and handled, and so I'm going to stick with them for a little while. So I know a lot of people are thinking, why would she get rid of her spare tire? What if she gets a flat? Well, trust me, I've given this a lot of thought, and I've always thought, what would I do if I did get a flat tire? First of all, I cannot lift, even begin to lift this tire. I'm not very strong, I guess, but it is a 97-pound tire, and that is about my weight. And so imagine you lifting your weight up. Some of you are probably strong enough to do that. I am not. Right now, Kevin's going to get started installing the tire delete for me. Now, it's not that it's a difficult install. He enjoys doing that kind of thing. I know I am always having him do these things for me, but it isn't that I can't do a lot of them. It's that I don't enjoy it. He does. So he's going to be doing the install. The tire delete that I chose is the MetalCloak tire delete kit, which uses the factory camera and also makes sure that it's angled right, which is good. And it has a nice clean look, you'll see. But yeah, he's going to get started with the install, and then I'll come back later and talk to you guys some more about what I plan to do if I get a flat, since I won't be carrying a spare.
So I'm going to get started installing the spare tire delete kit on Cindy's Jeep. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove the camera, rear backup camera cover, the spare tire. And the other thing I'll need to do is take her tailgate table off so I can remove this panel that's right here and get to the back of the tailgate there to help with the install. And as she said, we went with the MetalCloak tire delete kit, and let me show you that real quick. So it comes with the plate mount, and then this is where your camera will go into, and the rear brake light, factory rear brake light goes there. That's also part of the camera mount there. It comes with a light for the tag, to go over the tag, and then they give you some wiring here to help with the install. Now, the one modification that I'm going to make to this, and I think it's going to be easier, is the way your plate mounts through these 4 holes. You put a bolt through and then a nut on the backside. So if you live in a state where every so often they send you new plates, you have to take the tire delete kit off to be able to remount your license plate if you have to change it out. So to make that easier, I'm going to put in these nutserts, and that way I won't have to worry about a nut on the backside, and we can just screw it right into those. And that is a 1/4-20 nutsert, because the bolts they send with the MetalCloak tire delete kit is a 1/4-20 bolt. So Jeep gives you a little toolkit with the Jeep. Comes with a T50 and a T40, I think this is. Yeah, T40, and a little ratchet, and then a 15mm socket type thing that will go into the ratchet. But this is what we're going to use to take the cover off the rear camera so we can remove the spare tire. So this T40 is just going to go into this. And one thing I've noticed, if you look, it shows, I don't know if you can make it out, but the on lock is on this side and the lock is on this side. So I would think if it's turned all the way to the right, you would think that means unlocked, but it won't come off. But when I turn it over to the lock position, I can slide it right off. I don't know, seems backwards. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So I did weigh the other tire, the 35-inch tire that she currently has on her Jeep, and that was 97.4 pounds. So just for fun, I thought I would weigh the 32-inch tire and see what the difference is. The number is going to show upside down, but that's just so I don't have the tire covering up the weight of it for the camera. 71.2 pounds. And this is essentially the factory tire that came off of my Jeep. It's a little bit different wheel than what I had on my Jeep. The 35s that are on Cindy's Jeep now are the factory wheel that came off of my Jeep. So I have the spare tire off, and the next thing I'm going to do, just to make things a little easier, is remove her tailgate table.
Is it coming off of there okay?
Yeah.
I love this table.
That's good. Maybe I'll get one someday.
Oh, you don't, that's right, you don't have one yet. Oh, you usually use mine when we go camping.
Yeah. So I got her table off, and now I can take this back panel off. Just trying to be careful so I don't break any clips. So sometimes these clips stay in where they go, and you can just pull them out and put them back on the tab. Okay, so now I'm ready to take the tire carrier off. It's held on with 13mm bolts, and there's 8 of them. We're going to hang on to these because we're going to reuse them to put the tire delete kit on. I'm going to put this back on here for 1 second. And disconnect the wire that's in the back. Give us a chance to clean it up a little bit back there. So that's the factory tire carrier. Now I need to take this apart so I can get the brake light off, and also take the factory camera out. That's looking better. The other thing we can do is pull these, I guess they're bump stops for the tire to keep it from rattling and moving around. But we can pull these out. She's not going to need them anymore. There we go. So that's going to leave 2 holes here and also a hole here, because I'm going to run the wires behind the tire delete so we don't see any of the harness or anything coming through this hole. And I'll show you what I'm going to do to fill these in. So for these 3 holes, they sell a plug kit, and you can get these for a JK or a JL, which is what Cindy has, is a JL. And it's just 3 plugs that fit right in the holes. Actually, these bottom ones are a little tight, which is good. And then they sell one for the bigger hole. And then that'll just give this a cleaner look. For the camera and the brake lighting, I'm actually going to run through the vent right here. So next I need to start taking the tire carrier apart, which is held together by these Torx bits, and I believe they're T25s. Alright, so I got the camera mount out, and that was a little bit of a struggle getting it out of there. It was pretty tight. What I ended up doing was these two little spots right here is where the T25 Torx went through, and they were in these spots right here on either side. And I just took a screwdriver and just kind of tapped on them on each side a little bit, and they loosened up. And once that happened, this mount fell right out. But it was a little bit tight at first. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it out of there. So what's holding the camera in there now is these little T7 Torx bits. We just need to loosen those up, and then we'll be able to take the camera out. Okay, that was pretty easy to get those out. Now I'm going to pull this camera out of the mount, and I'm going to take that wire connection off right there so I can get the wires out. So this is our wire harness for the third brake light, the camera. So I have the camera installed into the mounting bracket, and I'm just going to test fit it real quick. And it looks like that's going to line up properly in there. Next thing I'm going to do is install the light for the plate. So they give you a rubber grommet that is going to slide into this hole in the bottom. And we're just going to feed these wires through. And then this light just gets pushed into that grommet. And that's a pretty tight fit. That's probably not going to come out of there. So the next thing I'm going to do is mount this camera mount inside the housing here. And they provided the bolts and a nylock nut that goes on the back side. And to tighten these up, you need a 4mm Allen head and a 12mm wrench. Next, we are going to install the factory brake light, and we're going to use the factory hardware to do that. So I have the factory brake light installed. So MetalCloak provides wiring that you can use for the license plate light. What they want you to do is run it through the tailgate and then over through this loom and into the tail light over here. But I think what I'm going to do is disconnect the wiring harness from the back of this license plate light because she's not going to use it anymore. And I'm going to reroute that wiring in through the Jeep here and then through this wiring loom and out to where the tire delete's going to be to the license plate light. So that's the wiring harness right there for the factory license plate light. And I can get my hand in there and disconnect that pretty easily. And now I'm just going to reroute that wire over into where the tailgate is. So I forgot to film for a little bit, but I'll catch you up on what I've been doing. I was wiring for the license plate light, and I used the factory wiring that I disconnected from there, and then I rewired it, and it comes up through this vent right here, and then I have it taped up underneath this ridge, and it comes out. So I don't know if you can see that. It comes out through a grommet that I put in right there, and then it goes under this panel and goes into this loom right there. I untaped this loom to open it up on this end. I pushed the wire through, and then I just taped it all back up. And then I have the wiring for the license plate light running along that wire right there. and then it'll go through one of these vents. So right now what I'm going to do before I go any further is just make sure that all these holes look like they're going to line up properly. And it does look like I'm going to be able to get them all to line up. So that's good. Now I'm going to put the nutserts in for the license plate. So I have the jack storage compartment put back together, and I have everything tidied up back here so I can put the panel back on and also put the tailgate table back on. On the back side here of the tailgate, I have the wires that are going to go to the camera and the tail light, and then the wire that's going to go to the license plate light. I haven't cut it yet because I'm going to wait and see what type of length I need, and then I'll add the connections to it. So I'm going to hook everything up real quick and test it and make sure everything's working. So I took a look at the video and I saw the brake light did come on. The license plate light did come on. When I put it in reverse, the camera did come on. It was looking sideways, obviously, because of the way I've got it mounted right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and tidy everything up, get the wires tucked in, and then tighten all the bolts up. After I finish with that, I can go ahead and put her panel and her tailgate table back on. All right, I'm going to check one more time, make sure everything's still working okay, and we'll continue on finishing up the install. And now putting Cindy's license plate on will be easy. So that's going to be it for this install. I'll go grab Cindy and see what she thinks of it.
I like it.
Yeah, it looks good.
What do you guys think? It's a lot cleaner looking. One of my next projects is to replace the bumper, because now I have a couple holes down here. I could have just left the license plate down there for now, but it's going to go up here. But look how open this is now. That's going to be nice. Not only like when I'm driving and I'm looking back through the rearview mirror, am I going to be able to see a lot more and a lot better. But when I'm camped and I'm just sitting down here in the below, I'll have all this open space. Of course, it does still have that where the window wiper is. But oh my gosh, this is so light now. That's gonna also take a lot of weight off these hinges, which will be nice. Because with the 35-inch tire, I might have found that I really needed to reinforce those hinges. I don't know, but now it's not going to be an issue. This is light. I'm gonna have to make sure I don't slam it. But yeah. Wow. So what am I going to do if I get a flat tire? Well, I'm going to either patch it or plug it. All I really have to do is get myself off trail. That's the main thing. Then I can get to a service station or somewhere like that, get somewhere I can work with it better. But what I'm going to bring is glue tread. This is like an adhesive with a patch, more than one in here, and that's for like sidewall repair, that sort of thing. And a plug kit, a standard plug kit. I'll need to get some practice, hopefully not on some back road somewhere in the middle of the night, but I need to practice with it, but I think it's pretty simple to use. Requires maybe a little bit of strength, but I have a mallet if I need it that I carry in here. And of course an air compressor. I keep an air compressor in my Jeep. So, you know, even if I'm like, you know, the air's getting low and I go a little ways, I have to re-air up or something like that, I can do that. But I mean, really when you think about it, how often do people get flat tires anymore? So I say that and I'm gonna
yeah, don't jinx it.
I'm gonna jinx it.
But it's true. I can't remember the last time I needed a spare tire. It's been years and years.
How many of you have had flat tires? You know, I mean, most of the time, if you get a flat tire, you know, it's because you had bad tires, or you hit on a really bad rock, or you came across an area where there were nails in the road,
Like a construction site or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So, is it a risk? I think in my situation, this is going to be my best option. So, I'm happy with this change.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It takes some weight off the back too.
Yeah, so. It did. Yeah, so is it...
As you drive, the springs will probably come up just a little bit, maybe.
Well, that'd be good, because eventually I'll probably have some sort of carrier, some added storage area that will allow me to carry more recovery gear. So that's something I've been considering and thinking about, what my best options are there as well. So, yeah. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you got something from it, and I will see you in the next video. And if the next video is replacing this bumper, Kevin will probably help me with that, and you'll see him as well. We'll see. All right, bye guys.
Bye.